At this time, no. Yes, ma'am.
What's your last name?
Muia. At this time, the defense wishes to call Ms. Haiti Duran to the stand. Good morning, Ms. Duran.
Good morning.
Please state your name, spelling your last name for the record.
Hayden Duran, D-U-R-A-N.
Now, Ms. Duran, why are you here today?
My daughter, Jessie, is being accused of shooting her best friend.
Ms. Duran, could you please tell us a little bit more about Jessie?
Yes, Jessie's a family child. She's a wonderful kid. Being a single parent is hard, but she makes it work.
And how did you know Sydney?
Sydney was Andy's only child too. She was like a daughter to me. That was Jessie's best friend. She was our neighbor.
Can you explain the relationship between Jessie and Sydney?
Sydney and Jessie clicked instantly. They were inseparable. Me and Andy even built a door between our fences so they could go to each other safely from the backyard.
And what did the girls do together when they played?
Well, I've never observed Sydney and Jessie play with Barbies or makeup. They were your average girls. They liked military type games. That's what they were into.
And Mr. Rand, why did Jessie have this interest in military type games?
Andy is a veteran, a Navy veteran, and Sydney and Jessie both listened to his stories, and Jessie looked up to him, and he asked Sydney too. So they were interested in military stuff ever since he introduced that to them.
And Mr. Rand, do you own a gun and do you hold a gun in your home?
No, I do not.
Mr. Rand, were you aware that the Parks family had a gun in their home?
The Parks were broken into earlier that year, so they told me that they had purchased a gun. So yes, that was it.
Now, to your knowledge, had Jessie had any experience with firearms prior to the accident that occurred on the 18th?
No, she had, before then she had.
And have you ever explained to Jessie the dangers of real guns?
I was told her how real guns were dangerous, but she had no experience with them.
So how did she react when you had these conversations with Jessie?
When I would tell her, and as I would think she would have understood at a certain point. So I don't know.
Now, I'd like to switch gears. I'd like to talk about the August 18th. Now, how did the day begin for you?
That day I woke up to Jessie being waking me up, and she woke up pretty early that day, and I wasn't going to work like till later, so I told her to go back to bed.
And what did you do?
I then took Jessie to the park. We had agreed that she would stay with Sydney that day and play with them, so I took her over to the park.
And who would be watching that day?
To my understanding, Danny was supposed to be the babysitter, but Andy told me that she called in sick. So there was no babysitter that day, but he told me that our front door neighbor would be on call for them.
Now, when you found out that Danny wouldn't be available that day, did you still leave?
I didn't want to leave the girls alone all day by themselves, but I had to go to work.
And later that day, you speak with Jesse at all?
About an hour, I got a call from Jesse asking me to come home, so I went and rushed home immediately.
And what happened when you finally arrived?
When I got there at the scene, I saw emergency vehicles all over the house. I panicked.
No, Mr. Ryan, I understand this can be difficult, and if you need a moment, please just let me know. But what happened next?
I told one of the officers at the scene who I was, so he let me inside. When I went inside, there was a body there, and it was my worst nightmare, our parents' worst nightmare. She was covered in a sheet, but the officer led me forward into the dining room, and that's where I saw Jesse.
Now, when you saw Jesse, were you able to speak with her at all?
I wanted to rush to my daughter, but the officers wouldn't let me touch her. They said that she was a suspect, that I couldn't touch her, and she had her hands wrapped in a plastic bag. I just wanted to go.
And did Jesse say anything?
At one point when I got a hold of my daughter's eyes, she looked at me and she said, "Sydney, open the case."
Objection, Your Honor, this is hearsay.
Your Honor, maybe this is an exception to hearsay. Pursuant to Midland's Code of Evidence 803-2, this is an excited utterance, and as she was still under the pressure of seeing her best friend die, this is still admissible to the court today.
If I may, Your Honor, the statement was elicited 45 minutes after the shooting, therefore, the incident that would have excited Jesse Duran in the situation was in the past, and therefore she would not necessarily been under the proximate control of this situation.
Your Honor, if we turn to the relevant case law, we turn to the wisdom of 803-2, we can see that there is no time requirement on an excited utterance, merely that the factors that cause this excitement are still present. And we would ask this court to take in the fact that there were many police officers, ambulance people, and finally, her dead friend laying on the floor. And these pressures will still weigh on Jesse Duran at the time of this statement.
If I may, I understand.
It wasn't her own daughter.
It was, if I may make an offer of proof, Your Honor, Sydney was like a daughter to me. They were very close. The daughters came together almost every single day.
If I may, in Duran's state of mind in the situation is irrelevant due to the statements of Jesse Duran being offered. And it is my understanding that as this incident happened 45 minutes in the past, while this was undoubtedly a tense scenario, this was not qualifying as an excited utterance.
Your Honors, the only thing that plaintiff is asserting is that there was too much time, but time is not an issue with excited utterance.
I agree with that. I'm going to sustain
And Mr. What did Jesse tell you when your days finally met?
She said, when I finally met her eyes, all she said was, "Sydney, I wanted to tell you that she was sorry."
And did you speak with Andy at all?
I saw Andy, and she was my friend. I wanted to comfort her, but she screamed and said, "This is all your fault."
Now, you were here during the trial, and you heard the testimony of Chapin. And during Chapin's testimony, he said that you were very good friends. Is that true?
No, I did not know her.
Objection, Your Honor, this misstates facts and evidence. Ms. Chapin did not testify that they were good friends, or rather that they knew each other, that they had a familiar, neighborly relationship.
If that is the truth, Your Honors, if she did not say that they were good friends, then the question is withdrawn.
Motion to strike any answer given and the question.
Now, Mr. Ranch, Chapin outlined your relationship, stating that she would bring you a fish a live fish every year. Did this ever happen?
No, it did not.
Now, you were also here during the trial when Emerson Couples took the stand. Now, Emerson Couples detailed a bunch of experiences and different aspects, comparing them to traits that Jesse may or may not have to determine whether or not she has psychopathy. Now, Did you ever experience any defiance to authority from Jesse?
No, just.
Objection, Your Honor, this calls for speculation, so this is, or excuse me, an unqualified expert opinion. This is a term used by an expert witness in today's case, and therefore this witness, a lay witness, cannot testify to this particular trait as exhibited by Mr. Graham.
Your Honor, the mother can testify whether or not she experienced any defiance from her daughter. And Ms. Duran, did you ever experience this defiance to authority?
No, Jessie was a wonderful child. Not only did she obey all the rules, but she was always doing everything I asked her to.
And Dr. Couples also outlined a trait that Jessie was cruel to animals. Now, did you ever experience this cruelty to animals?
No, I'm not sure where he based that on, but.
Objection, Your Honor, relevance. Dr. Couples stated that he interviewed 20 of Jessie Graham's former classmates, babysitters, and tutors. Therefore, this witness, whether or not she saw any of these behaviors, is frankly irrelevant in today's case. Foundation has been laid with the conclusions drawn by Emerson Couples, and none of it relied on the testimony of Katie Duran.
Your Honor, maybe this is relevant because it goes to the credibility of Emerson Couples. Emerson Couples is using these testimonies that have never been made aware to Ms. Duran, nor to defense counsel. So therefore, it should be questioned whether or not any of these instances actually happened.
If I may be heard. This witness was not used by Emerson Couples in reaching his conclusions. Therefore, whether or not she saw these things, they may very well still occur, and therefore this entire line of questioning is irrelevant.
Wouldn't it be relevant to bring out the fact that many people start out as children abusing animals and go on to other things like guns and...
Absolutely, Your Honor, which is why we brought that out during the testimony of Emerson Couples. From this witness, it is irrelevant.
Your Honor, maybe this witness was present in court during the examination of Emerson Couples. So she may speak to what she heard during Couples' testimony. The validity of the facts that plaintiff is relying on, stating that Jessie has psychopathy. Now, who better to understand Jessie than her very own mother, the only person she had in the world, other than her best friend, Sydney Clark?
If I may, an evaluation of psychopathy can only be done by an expert psychologist. This witness's opinion is irrelevant, given that we have an expert who's already testified to these facts.
I'm gonna go ahead and sustain the objection and go forward.
Motion to strike
With all of the information, I'm not gonna strike anything, I'm gonna go forward with the information available in the report. I am gonna strike.
You are.
I'm gonna overrule it.
Wait, you will rule the objection.
I'm sorry. You brought the motion, I'm gonna sustain your motion.
But are you going to strike the answer?
I don't think we got things here.
Yeah, I don't think we got there yet.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, finally, it was outlined that Jessie Duran exhibited an indifference to others. Did you ever experience Jessie to be different? to others?
Objection, Your Honor. Once again, I object to relevance under the same grounds as my previous objection.
Your Honor, both Emerson Couples and Carrie Chapin have said that Jessie had a blank expression, almost emotionless. If I may make an offer of proof, Katie Duran will go on to explain that she has never experienced this kind of indifference, and in fact, she had a lot of feeling and was very distraught by the death of her best friend.
If I may, this witness was not present on August 18th at the time of Carrie Chapin is saying that she saw Jessie Duran's blank expression. Therefore, once again, this is entirely irrelevant.
I'm gonna sustain the objection.
Did you experience any indifference after the accident that occurred on the 18th?
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance. This witness was not present at the time.
Yes. Did you experience any indifference from Jessie after the accident when you met with Jessie?
Objection, Your Honor. This is a vague question.
Did you experience any indifference?
It's the word indifference. In an expert context, it has a certain meaning. In the lay context, it has another meaning.
Why don't you go ahead and explain the
Did you,
indifference?
yes, ma'am. Did you notice any emotion being exhibited by Jessie after the accident?
Yes, my daughter just lost her best friend. She was devastated.
Thank you, Mr. Grant. No further questions.
Counselor Daniel, Good afternoon. My name is Alexa Arndt. I'm going to ask you a few questions on behalf